Hi my friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing the intro from the car because I'm gonna be honest, I low-key forgot to do an intro before I left my house. So we're doing an intro in the car. And if you've clicked on the video, you know that we are going to be doing a cozy bookstore and book haul. The reason why I'm doing this is because for Christmas, I got a bunch of gift cards along with my graduation for Barnes & Noble. And I really don't have like a set amount of books I want. I have specific books that I have in mind for like videos later on in the year or even later on in the month as well too, depending on when this video goes up specifically, you know. And we're just kind of keeping like cozy, and we're not going to talk too much, and then we're going to do a haul afterwards as well. It's like almost like 1 o'clock and such on like a Thursday, I believe. Yeah, it's almost 1 o'clock on a Thursday. I'm hoping it's not too busy. I'm just gonna I'm not even gonna bring my microphone in. It's just gonna be the camera, my tiny little tripod, and we're just gonna kind of just like go around the store and just kind of like have some fun and just like look around, you know. I have a bunch of different gift cards, like I said at the beginning. So yeah, I think the main genres that I kind of want to stay in is looking at historical fiction, lit fic, and a couple of fantasies that I've had on like my list for a while, and also potentially looking at book club books, because I'm a part of a couple book club books and I'm still debating which one I want to do for said book clubs. I've got like, I can choose from like My Friends or the Nightingale and like 2 other clubs that I'm a part of, and I'm just debating, you know. So that's kind of where I'm at currently and such. So yeah, let's get into the store and let's do some book shopping together. Alright guys, we are back in the car. I'm too lazy to attach the microphone and such, so I do apologize if the quality is not the greatest right now, but we got the goods. I put them in the bag, so I will more than likely see you guys when I get home to do the haul. And it's not just going to be including these books. I will say I really did kind of have a hard time like figuring out like what books I was going to bring home, because some of them I have on my Kindle, but I also don't really want to waste money as well too, so I was just kind of debating, and like, you guys will see. I think you guys know 3 of the ones that I bought officially, and the rest will be kind of surprises as well too, because I kind of started getting busy in there and I kind of got a little bit shy with the camera. But I will see you guys at home for the haul. Okay friends, I am back at my house. It is a couple hours later than I wanted to record this, but when I went to go record this the first time, my microphone died and I didn't even notice until I stopped recording. Anyways, we are back and we're basically just going to do this again. Like I said, did I say this? I don't even remember what I said in the last clip. I think you guys saw at least 2, maybe 3 of these books, and I kind of wanted to leave the rest up to a surprise. I got 8 books actually. Apologies if I like pause to cough and such. I'm going to try and cut out the coughs as much as possible, but I can't really talk that long without needing to just like chug water like almost every single second. So I'm going to try and keep this as brief as I possibly can, but I'm not too sure. So we're going to start off with the first book on the stack that I have over here. This is a book that I've been seeing a lot of people being like, this is a nice little like standalone fantasy that you can read and it's like pretty good. And that is The Second Death of Locke by V.L. Bovalino. I want to make sure that I pronounce her name properly and such. And basically from what I've seen of this is it follows these 2 friends, specifically Gray and Kieran, I think is Kier? No, it's Kier specifically. And specifically Gray holds some magic that Kier wields. There's like a little bit of a romance. It's a standalone series, or it's like a standalone fantasy, which I've been wanting to try and get into more fantasies, because specifically, if you guys don't know, my long-standing beef with not even fantasy, it's just Sarah J. Maas. I read her ACOTAR series, very much love and hate, and then I DNF'd the Throne of Glass series, and I do not plan on picking up her Crescent City series. I just don't think that she's the author for me. And I need to branch out a little bit more when it comes to fantasies. So I thought I would pick up this and just kind of try it and see if I liked it or not. So that's the reason behind this purchase, because all of these have a purpose and why I purchased them in the first place. I can't just buy books willy-nilly without an explanation. That's just something that I just don't do. And then the next book that I have in this stack is The Devil She Knows by Alexandra Bellefleur. I recently just read Playing for Keeps by her that came out on the 6th. I got it as an art copy. Thank you to NetGalley again for giving me that art. I really do appreciate it. And this one I did see on NetGalley, but it got released last year and October, I think, and I really liked reading Playing for Keeps, and I'm like, you know, might as well like try out some of her like other books. It was between this one and I believe it was called Truly Madly in Love or something along that lines. The cover is up on the screen somewhere. I'm not too sure where exactly it is on the screen, but you know, you guys will see it. And basically with this one, The Devil She Knows, I originally saw Ellen Catherine talking about this book and about how it basically follows this woman named Samantha, specifically this one, Samantha's this girl right here. And she's basically having like the day from hell. Her girlfriend broke up with her and she has no place to live. And then she finds herself trapped in an elevator with a gorgeous woman, Daphne, this blonde woman right here, who claims that she is a demon. And basically Daphne offers up a bargain being like, hey, I'll give you 6 wishes to get your ex back. And the caveat is that the trade is for Samantha's soul, but then Samantha sees a glaring loophole in their contract and plans to exploit it, specifically when that's happened. And you kind of follow them. I heard that it's funny. I heard that it's kind of silly, goofy. And honestly, a silly, goofy, like sapphic romance, we love. I love reading those types of stories, and I need a little bit more sapphic romance in my life. And I think we all do, personally. And yeah, the reason why I chose to buy The Devil She Knows is, one, I want to get more into Alexandra Belfleur's writing style, know her style a little bit more, and just kind of like try out more authors, pretty much. And then this next one got actually really, really popular in like the fall time of last year, and that is If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia. Basically, from what I've heard, it's basically a slow burn romance set in the 1990s, following these two, which is Cliff and I don't know what her name is, honestly, off the top of my head. I have no idea. Michelle, that's her name. So her name is Michelle. So yeah, Michelle and Cliff, I think Michelle is going back to her mom's bed and breakfast. She didn't think that she was going to take it over because she's not very much a people person. And then she meets Cliff, who is her next door neighbor. He's a single dad with, I believe, 2 daughters, I think, but I'm not too sure off the top of my head. He's the small town golden boy. They kind of make friends, and then something more happens. And I've heard that this is actually a little bit more of an emotional romance, and I've been personally kind of wanting, not that I don't love optominal reads and the silly, goofy vibes that they bring, but sometimes when it comes to a romance, I can't always have them just being like silly, goofy, and like things like that. I need them to have just like a little bit more of an emotional tension and a little bit more of an emotional term, pretty much, or like turmoil specifically. And I'm hoping that this upcoming fall, I can do that. I can read this. And that's pretty much the reason why. It's to, one, just try new authors, see if I like her stuff. I do not know if this is a debut novel or not. I don't know if she has anything else. Oh, she does have more stuff. Okay, I was going to say, I never heard of her until recently, until this book popped off because it just got so popular last year. And then this next one that I have is part of a spin-off series from the Inheritance Games, and is the first book in the Grandest Game series, and that of course is The Grandest Game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This one follows after the original trilogy. You're supposed to read this, I believe, after The Brothers Hawthorne. I think you can read Games Untold after this, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I can't remember what the reading order is off the top of my head. I don't plan on picking this one up for at least a while. I kind of want to get all the books in the paperback form before I do this, because I will say I kind of have a tumultuous relationship with the Inheritance Games trilogy, specifically because the first book I loved. I read that back in 2024 before I started this YouTube channel. I loved that one. And then the Hawthorne Legacy was good in the beginning, and then it lost me in the middle towards the end. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take a break. And then a year and a half passed. I read those back in November of 2024. It's January of 2026. So it's not quite close to a year and a half, but it's like a year and some odd months, pretty much. And I finally finished that original trilogy. And that one, I'm not really in much of a rush to get back into that world. This can wait for a while at least. I think one of the main reasons why I'm also kind of holding off on reading this, but the reason why I have it is to kind of remind myself oh, I have that if I want to dive into this world again, because this one, it doesn't follow Avery. It actually follows 3 different people. It follows Lyra, Gigi, and Rohan, I believe is how you pronounce their names. It follows those 3, and it's basically a life-changing competition run by billionaire Avery Grams and the 4 infamous Hawthorne brothers. And if you guys have read the Inheritance Games, you get to see a little bit about that. So yeah, it's an interesting thing about that specifically. And like I said, the reason why I bought this is because I could have it on my shelf. I can remind myself like, oh, I've got that spin-off series that I can read if I want to, because I don't know if y'all can see it back behind me, but I have like the original trilogy. The Brothers Hawthorne is on the cart right now, I think, and then I have the same backwards as forwards. Anyways, the next one that I have in this stack is actually a continuation of a duology, and that is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. I have Six of Crows on my shelf already. I bought that for my birthday because I want to get to this series, but I want to do this in finding fantasy books that I like series. It's kind of going to become a little series where I'm just like picking up these fantasy novels that I'm like wanting to try that's not Sarah J. Maas, just to give myself a little bit of a break / just like wanting to better understand my taste within the fantasy genre, because I've read some really good fantasy series. I read Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. I read Heartless Hunter and Rebel Witch. I really liked those ones. I'm trying to think of other fantasies. I can't think off the top of my head, but obviously I have Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, and I have like One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns, and book series is like that where they're tiny or they're like a trilogy or whatever, and just basically just like trying them out, seeing if I like them, because one of the genres that I've always been just kind of like hesitant a lot of the time when reading is fantasy. So this is a way for me to kind of just get out of my comfort zone and also just trying to find fantasies that I actually like reading. Pretty much. That's pretty much the reason why I chose this one. Plus, it also completes the duology. And plus, in my opinion, with duologies, if you don't have at least both of the books, what are you doing? Because it's literally just like one book, second book, and then you're done. You know, it's easy as pie. Same with trilogies as well, too. And then this next one is actually a trilogy, but it is not a fantastical trilogy. I believe it is a thriller horror trilogy, and that is Mr. Mercedes by Stephen King. This, I believe, is the first book in the Bill Hodges series, specifically. I think so. Yeah, it is. We have that, and I've been wanting to read Bill Hodges stuff for a while because he's another very prominent character of Stephen King's. And also we get to meet one of my favorite characters, specifically one of my favorite female characters that he's ever written, which is Holly Gibney. And I kind of want to read this series before or at least read the first book in the series, because I don't know if I'm going to continue, but we shall see. I want to see what her backstory was like before we get into Holly, because I read The Outsider and If It Bleeds by him, which is part of Holly's series, Holly Gibney's series. Then the third one is titled as Holly, and I think the fourth one came out last year, which I think was Never Flinch, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm a little bit out of the loop with that specifically, but the reason why I wanted to read this one is because I've heard it's a little bit of like a cat and mouse type of vibe, where it follows Bill Hodges. He's a retired detective. Basically what happened is there was this guy who stole a Mercedes and basically drives into like a crowd of people and such, with like 8 dead and so many people wounded that the case goes cold, and Bill Hodges, he is out of hope when he gets a letter from the man who loved the feel of death under the Mercedes wheel and such. And Brady Hartsfeld wants that rush again, but this time he's going to go big with an attack that would take down thousands pretty much. So it's kind of like I'm pretty sure that Bill is going to be chasing after Brady, and that just sounds really intriguing to me. Plus, I want to include this in one of my Let's Start, Continue, and Finish a Series vlogs, pretty much. So that's going to be part of that, and really excited for that. I have so many Stephen Kings I need to read, but you know what? It's fine. We're fine. The next one that I have is actually a little bit of a shocker, because I didn't even have this on my radar until I saw Ellen Catherine, shout out to you, girl, read this, and she really liked it. And I'm like, it's another standalone fantasy. why not? And that is Savage Blooms by S.T. Gibson. And basically what this one follows, it follows these two best friends named Adam and Nicola. Adam brings Nicola around to basically find this creepy mansion in this place called the Highlands, which is in Scotland. And then they find themselves in a storm where they're stranded, and they find themselves at the mercy of Eileen, who is the owner of the infamous Highland Manor, along with her brooding groundskeeper Finley, and they're kind of trapped in this weather. It's kind of like magical and fae type of things. Yeah, there's like gothic manners, fairy magic, forbidden desires set in the foreboding Highlands of Scotland. It sounds funny. It sounds sexy. It sounds like something that I definitely need to be in the mood for, but also you never know. I want to try it. I try books for a reason. We read books for a reason. We try them just to kind of see what our taste is, pretty much. So that's that, and that's why I chose to buy that one and such. I don't think you can see it quite yet. No, not yet. You can't see the stack yet. But the last book that I have on here is actually kind of a shocking one, but then I saw a bunch of people raving about it. I saw so many people just being this is so beautiful, especially for a debut novel. And of course, debut novels, I gotta learn how to enunciate properly, can be extremely, extremely beautiful and extremely lovely in a sense. And that is The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. Basically, from what I've heard from this, is it follows this woman named Sybil, and she's basically used letters to make sense of the world around her and find her place. And all of this is labeled / formatted in the form of letters, from letters that she has sent to people, or letters that she has received from people. And I'm really, really excited to try and read this. And something I don't remember if I talked about this in my 2026 reset vlog. I don't think I did, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But one of my main goals with reading this year is specifically trying to get into more historical and literary fictions, because as I've gotten older, I'm 22 years old, my main genre has been romance. And I mean, I love romance. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I'm ever gonna stop reading romance books, but I feel I'm kind of growing a little bit tired of them, and I need a little bit of a change, specifically in the literary fiction side or the historical fiction side as well too. And I tell you what, I only bought a couple of romances in this stack today because I just wasn't feeling the romance vibe of things. Yeah, my first two books of the year plus The Final Gambit had elements of romance, but it wasn't a pure romance. It's a mystery at its core. But the first two I read were romances, and I was like, okay, I can get back into this. But also with The Correspondent, one of my main things is to try and find more literary fictions that I will like. Not that I need to identify with every single thing in them, but this concept just sounds so fun and so beautiful. And it's also surprisingly short. I did not think it was going to be as short as it is, you know? I thought it was going to be just a little bit longer, but it's really kind of, if you look, it's really kind of a shorter book if you look. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say on The Correspondent. And that is my book haul of Barnes & Noble. I did get a couple of other books from Amazon a couple days ago, and I'm not going to grab them because I low-key kind of forgot. But the ones that I remember specifically, I got Discovering Nicola, which is the third in the Oxford Romance series and such. I read Meeting Millie last year and really liked that, and I want to continue on with that series because it's so cute, it's so fun, and just things like that. What was another one? Oh, Between Friends and Lovers. I've been wanting to read that book for so long. I've heard that it's not only just a romance, but it's also kind of mixed with literary fiction and women's fiction, and I love me a good women's fiction. I mean, I read Before I Let Go, and I was like, okay, I need to get more into this type of genre. And then I got my pre-order of Playing for Keeps by Alexandra Bellefleur. That went on sale, and I got that what else did I get? I have my phone right here. I can actually look it up. The last books I got from Amazon. Give me one second. Yes, the last books that I got, of course, yeah, I said Playing for Keeps. I said Discovering Nicola. The other books that I got was They Never Learn by Lane Fargo, Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. I've been wanting that book for so long. It's not even funny. If We Were a Movie by Zakia Shamal, I think is how you pronounce her name. I need to double check that. And then, of course, The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. And then some other books that I got. I have 3 of them. I bought them in a set of 4. This is going to sound really, really just like, oh my God, you're such a super fan. But I bought the complete scripts of Stranger Things. Yeah, I know. I want to read them while I'm like listening to the show because I think that would be fun to just kind of see what that's like specifically, because it's one of those things where it's like one day, like one of my main ideas that I've had as a writer for so long is to create a romance specifically within the film genre and Hollywood as well too. So if I can read those and kind of understand how those are written, I feel like those will kind of help me in my inspiration on that specifically. So yeah, I have scripts 1 and scripts of season 1, season 2, and season 4. Season 3 is on the way. It's coming on January 23rd specifically. It was supposed to be here on the 25th, but it is coming on the 23rd of January. So I have those. Like I said, they're somewhere on the screen, but those are some of the more recent ones along with the ones that I have here. And that pretty much brings me to the end of this video. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Let me know if you like these types of vlogs. I'm kind of like trying new things as I'm kind of getting used to filming in public, being able to edit properly, and just being able to feel comfortable like bringing my camera places, because it's easy to talk to you guys like this in this setting, but filming today, oh, that was scary. But thankfully there was not that many people in the store since it was early in the day and not many people, like some people are working, some people are in school and whatever. So it was nice to be able to just kind of get a little bit of quiet in that. And remember to like and comment down below. If you don't know what to comment, tell me what some of your recent book buys were. That can either be physical, audiobook, or Kindle as well too, because I do love me some Kindle books as well. I've probably bought so many Kindle books as well too. Comment those down below if you don't know what to comment. Make sure you subscribe. All of my social media is linked down in the description below. And I really, truly hope that you guys have an amazing day, week, month, and year. See you later, friends.